Cultural X-ray specs. Basically, what I mean by this is that you need to do your homework in terms of when you're going to another culture and when you're going to be operating in another culture. You need to be able to really be receptive to the differences. And how you do that is one, cultural background research. You got to prepare for the engagement. You have to get ready. Do your homework. Do that cultural orientation indicator that I just showed up there a minute ago. Find out a little bit about what the preferences are in that region. Style switching. This is a subject unto itself, but what this refers to is when you're dealing with people with different cultures, you need to be able to know yourself and be comfortable with yourself to the point where you can change on any given moment to be able to adapt to the circumstances. So, you know, in one negotiation, we could be negotiating with a Mexican, and then another situation with a European, another situation with someone in the Asian culture. We have to be able to take our message and what, you know, our preferences and of how we operate and convert it to be effective in that culture and with that person. So it takes a degree of practice to be able to switch your style of how you communicate with different people so that, you know, you can get the same message across, you know, in one way or another. Cultural dialogue, close gaps and create cultural synergy. Basically what that means is that when you're conversing with other people, you need to be able to close the cultural differences, the cultural gaps, and work to build upon each other so that you're not butting heads just trying to communicate with each other, that you're actually using your messages to build upon each other and to become, you know, to create some form of synergy and create something positive out of the experience. Cultural mentoring, you know, helping others. You know, this stuff is not easy to do, and when you find someone who's interested in global experience and who's planning on going to another country that you've been to, for example, to help them out so that they can, you know, see the light and how they have to operate in that other culture. Communication barriers. So we would have some communication barriers when we're operating in another culture, obviously. We have two different kinds basically that would apply to this, verbal and nonverbal. The verbal, the language, is an important one. So we're not going to be speaking the same language maybe if we're in some cultures. So we would need to be able to make changes to be able to either adapt to that, either learn a language or have some kind of agreement on what language you're going to use in their discussions, or have a translator, for example. All different kinds of ways to work that out. Communication flows, I put that there because that kind of refers to the hierarchy. Are you able to talk with the chief executive, for example, about an issue that you have? So that could be a communication barrier as well. Values, what does the culture value? You know, if, for example, the United States, we like to talk about sports around a water cooler. What do they talk around a water cooler in another country? That could be a barrier in terms of how you relate with the people of that culture. So you have to be mindful of what the people like to talk about. Do they talk about sports? Do they talk about TV shows? Do they talk about the internet? You know, what's the main conversation topic that they value? Directness. How direct are you towards others? Is this in a culture where being direct could be seen as being aggressive, or you know, you have to tone it down a little bit? Or if you speak your normal way and you're operating in a culture that's a direct culture, are you not putting enough emphasis on your point to get it across right? You know, you have to be more direct. That could take a style switch. The context, is it a high context, low context? We spoke about that before. The eloquence, basically, in some cultures, they put a lot of emphasis on being artful in the language. For example, Native American culture, you know, the speakers might be more induced to create an artful depiction of what they're trying to talk about. And in other cultures, maybe they don't go to that extreme to talk about it. For example, in North American culture, we would just say what we mean, just whatever it is, and we don't really put that much thought into how we express it. Whereas in other cultures, that could be different. Non-verbal. Perceptual barriers. Basically, what are your perceptions? What do you think? Basically deals with how you're thinking. The kinesics, the oculesics. The kinesics is like how you move, your body language. Oculesics is your eye contact. What you use, how you use your eyes. Haptics, how you touch people. Is it okay to touch someone's shoulder when you're passing by? How that works. Proxemics, how close are you when you're conversing? What is the cultural norm for how far apart you stand with someone? If someone's here, maybe this is the normal distance in one country, but maybe in another country it's a little bit further away, and so we would be more accustomed to speaking a little bit further of a distance. Maybe it's a little bit closer, and we have to learn to be comfortable with being in that distance. Chronemics, we talked about the time, and the chromatics, basically the uses of colors, for presentations or something like that, how you dress, that would have an impact on that. So do I need to learn another language? Yes. I would say yes. But which one? And how much is enough? Do you really need to learn the language inside and out to be able to operate effectively there? This is kind of open for discussion. I would say that you need to know enough to get by. A tourist grade is great when you're going to travel to another country, but if you're going to be spending some time there, you need to speak better than tourist grade that language. Certainly being conversant would help. It'll help you pick up a lot more out of the culture. If you speak English and you go to a country that speaks Spanish, it's hard to really pick up on the cultural differences to be able to style switch and use these tools. So you need to make an effort to learn that language. So which one do you want to choose? I mean, this is top 10 internet languages. English is by far the biggest, but Chinese is pretty close up there in terms of comparing to it. Spanish, Japanese, French, German, Portuguese, Korean, Italian, Arabic, and all the rest of the world languages. A lot of software is available in multiple languages, so if you're traveling, you have to learn to use different operating systems if you're going to be using public computers. But there's a lot of help out there with that. There's translators and things. So just pick one and put a little effort. Just being able to learn a few words, for example, would go a long way in dealing with someone of another culture. If you put forth the effort to learn hi, how are you, and have a short conversation, and then maybe you could switch back to the language that you decided upon for your engagement, then at least they know that you're putting forth the effort, and they, probably more willing to open up to you. So, yes. Social media. Different countries may have different forms of social contact online. That's an important topic because a lot of businesses are marketing through social media right now. So if you're throwing your resources into MySpace and Facebook and you're trying to grow this network outside of your home country, say for example the United States, then you need to make sure that you use the social platform that they have and not just MySpace and Facebook. You need to be able to see, do they use Orkut? Do they use WordPress, High Five? They have all different kinds of websites for different countries, and if you're marketing, just make sure you're not barking up the wrong tree is kind of what I'm getting at here. There are so many different kinds of social media and social platforms. It's really hard to encompass them all. So pick the ones that are going to be effective in the markets that you're going to. Again, there are online machine translators that are available that can assist in communication. Google Translate's a very good one. You can just copy and paste, and it does a great job of translating. There are other ones that are available, but that's the most renowned right now.